Everybody, thank you for watching once again. Today we're going to be doing a video on how I set up my double door cage traps. So I got this one here at the summer convention up in Idaho from Mercer Lawn. These are some camp trip cage traps. This is a double door. And I'm going to be showing you how I would set it up and pretty soon this season. It's coming up and starts in November. I'll probably be running my trap line late November in the White Mountains of Arizona, and then I'll be running them down here in southern Arizona through December, January, and all the way through February, hopefully. But here's a cage trap, a very nice, sturdy construction of the whole deal. I'm just setting this cage trap out. Trapping season's not in right now, so I'm just setting this trap out to show you guys how to do so. Right now we've got we're right here on this edge. This is a big feeding spot for bobcats, so if I was really trying to trap them, I would put it here either way. It's where bobcats like to feed because it's just this big old piece of brush here, and a lot of critters will hide in there. Rodents of all sorts will be hiding in there. And I found this really cool choke point here where there's a little bit of brush right here, and then there's a trail thing right there. So those critters, especially bobcats, love to walk the edges. So I'll be relying on them to walk this edge, just working the edge, probably trying to find a pack rat or whatnot in that hole right there. Then to get to the other side, I think the easiest way for them to be is not to go around the whole trap, but to actually just go straight through here, through my cage trap. So we'll show you how I'm going to get that all set up real quick. So guys, to get this video started off, what we're going to do here is we're going to move the cage out of the area for now. The first thing I like to do is I have a small little garden hoe here. And what I use this for is I use this to clear the area around the set. The area out of the set there. I have a pair of clippers here, some snippers, whatever. These work really well. Use them all last season. So you want to snap out the brush, whatever your brush you got. You can use a chainsaw if you got thick brush like junipers and pine trees and stuff like that. Or you can just use a pair of snippers like I do if you're in a low desert brush country. Just whatever suits your needs, and that's really what's going to be better for you. I'm not trying to teach anybody, but so I just suggest you guys get out there and see what works best. And I've kind of corrected my methods by, watching professionals, but then, doing it my way. So first thing I do, a lot of people, Mercer Lawn himself, the great cage trapper, what he does is he'll go ahead there and dig a hole, a dirt hole, and then he'll stick some of his lures, his skunk lure or whatever other kind of lures he has, and he'll stick the skunk down the bottom of the trap. I found that doesn't work too well because in Arizona we have ants year round, so the ants normally will actually like to get there and to go to the skunk, and I found that doesn't attract bobcats. The ants don't attract bobcats too well, so I don't do that. I'll show you what I do here. You kind of grate the cage down so that it's level and stuff. This is some harder ground here where I trap. I mean, sometimes it'll be really easy. I'll be in sandy conditions and washes and stuff. It'll be really easy to grate the trap in the dirt, but sometimes it'll just be really hard with some rocky ground. You can never tell with Arizona. Anyway. So what I'll do is I'll set up the trap. The way you set up Mercer's traps is you pull this bar up right here, and then get your cage trap doors on both sides, so like that. There we go, and the whole trap is ready to go. So now what we're going to do is I'll get dust and dirt from around the set, sand or whatever you got, and just bed the trap in really good. I usually have my my trowel with me. I forgot to bring it this time. So that's what I was looking for right now. But I cover the cage not because I think the bobcat's scared of it. Or the bobcat and the majority of bobcats are scared of it, but I want to catch every bobcat. So if there's one bobcat that I'd be scared of it or something like that, maybe the wire's too hot for him to step on or something like that, I want to make sure that I negate any chances of that bobcat refusing to go in my cage or just not wanting to go in my cage. There you go. The dirt's in the cage. We'll go around and do it on the other side. But first, before that, you're going to want to do, you want to get your brush, whatever that may be, and put that around the cage. And that will make sure that the bobcat can't satisfy its curiosity and get into it, or be able to go around the cage. In this case, this is a double door, so you don't want them to be able to go around the cage and take that route instead of going through the cage. So another thing. Get a good old ton of brush, stick it in around the cages. These traps here, where I live, there's not a ton of brush. Brush is not to hide the cage from the critter or to camouflage it any. The brush really is to make sure the animal can't satisfy its curiosity on the outside of the cage trap and not want to go in. Or in this instance, to block the animal from going any other way but the cage. So this brush pile makes it really easy because there's brush all over the place, but sometimes you'll have to go out and cut some brush. And make sure it's legal where you're trapping to do that. Some national forest or wherever you might be trapping, they have different regulations for different stuff, you know. With these double doors, I'll do two things. For stepping guides, we'll get these sticks here, and I'll throw a one or two right in front of the dead spot of the pan. That's about 2 inches into the pan for these 12-inch pans that I got from Merchelong. So yeah, about 2 inches high, or 2 inches across like that, across the pan, and then one on the other side of the trap. And that'll make sure that the bobcat steps on your trap pan where the trap pan is ready to fire, and not just maybe on your stepping guide, and then right beyond that, which is past the trap, because that would be just something terrible. A lot of these bigger pans, you know, the ones that stick straight up, like in a Havahar or a smaller trap like that, those pans act more like a stepping guide than actually a pan where the bobcat is supposed to step on. So I like to tell it to people and it actually makes people understand that those bobcats, they only want to step where it's easiest, so they'll step right over that stick right into the trap itself. I'm bringing this camera a little closer up so you can see what I'm doing a little better. So I got that stick right in there. So I got that stick right up in there. It's good. And I'll come around to the other side and do the exact same thing. Also put that one right there. So I have a variety of lures that I use. I used this one all season long, and I caught a lot of cats last year. Bobcat urine, awesome. This is Powder River paste bait. Powder River, that's what it's called, but I call it Powder River paste bait because that's what it is. It's a paste bait essentially. This is Cage Magic lead-in scent. As you can see, I haven't used this yet. I'm not going to use them actually in this demonstration here. I'm just going to pretend to use them and show you where I use them. And then I've got another assortment of lures here. I put them in this because they're really stinky ones. or really smelly ones. The most infamous of my lures is a skunk, and everybody in my family hates me for it. Just because it stinks really bad and it makes our garage smell bad. I use some, whatever you're going to use, I use a lot of Gland Lures. I use a Bobcat based Gland Lure in this container here, and then some skunk in this one here. Some Cage Magic Love Potion Lure, that's a really good lure. Those are some other lures I don't use for most of my sets. And this is a Gland Lure for mink and muskrat. This is a pure mink gland. It's a Swedish smelling lure. And you can use mink glands, muskrat glands, or even beaver castor. And those, what they do is they have a curiosity attractant, and they give those bobcats a, a kind of curious idea. So, curiosity killed the cat, and that's so true with these bobcats as well. So I use Cage Magic lead and scent. I'll show you how I use that stuff. So what I'll do with these double doors, they're different than the single door. So I'll get them. There's a little tip right here, and you can open that up, and it squirts out. So you'll draw a line and then do like a bullseye basically in the middle of the pan there, and you go on the other side and basically draw a line. I'll show you how you do that. You do that and draw a bullseye, and it's really fun to do that. I do the exact same thing with the Bobcat urine. Works the same way, works really well. So basically I only use 1 or 2 lures in my double door traps because there's really hard places to put. Where else would you put any of these other lures? And they don't need it. It's mostly a walkthrough set. That's what I use my double doors mostly for. But if I was going to do a lure set, maybe one, if I close that back door right there, and this would just be one open door, I would just put the lure in the back of the trap. That's about it. But the lures I use for my cages, my double door cage traps, are 3 lures. I use Cage Magic lead and scent, Bobcat urine, and my skunk essence. So those 3 lures. I use my skunk essence as a call lure right above the set, like right up there. I'll use my Cage Magic lure, as I just told you, and I'll do the exact same thing with my Bobcat urine. So those 3 lures, what I use a whole assortment of lures from my other cage traps, but these lures are great for any set, be it a walkthrough set, be it a closed cubby, or whatever you're talking about. These 3 lures are going to be necessary. So all those lures are down in the description if you want to go check those out. I think there's some awesome lures. If you have a lure that works for your cat trapping, if you're a foothold trapper or cage trapper or whatever you're doing, then go ahead, by all means do that, because that obviously works for your cats in your area. I'm not going to be teaching anybody anything because I'm not that knowledgeable about trapping. I'm just showing you how it works, how I'm successful with trapping. But guys, if you've got good lures, this is basically a substitute. You can substitute anything you want for this lure. Honestly, I love Cage Magic lead and scent. I've never been told or asked by anybody to advertise it, and I do it because I know it's such a good lure, and it will help you be better trappers. Because I've got camera videos of bobcats and fox just rubbing on that lure, on that lead-in track right there. They just love it, and it's just an awesome lure. But yeah, those are all the lures I use. Lure is very important for bobcat trapping, probably the most important at all besides location. So that's what I do. I'm going to show you a few more things here. I don't use bait a lot. For the double doors, however, I think double doors actually are you should use bait a lot more commonly than you do on your cage traps. So if I shoot a ground squirrel or shoot a jackrabbit, what I'll do is I'll slice it up into a few chunks, and then I'll get a piece of wire and hang it up to the middle of the trap right there where that pan is, so they can't pull it away without actually putting some effort into it. I have a whole assortment of rabbit fur. I go hunting, off season, in the summertime. We've got a year-round season in Arizona for rabbits. So I shoot a rabbit, give it its fur, wire it up to the front of the cage, there, and it'll be a good dangler. So just any of those little attractors will work awesome. Something else I do love is you just go to the dollar store and you can see this stuff, and it's some shiny tinsel, and it makes a lot of attractant, and bobcats can see green, blue, and purple pretty well. A study was showing that. So you can put that, you can hang that up as a flag in front of the set. I'll do that and show you how that looks very soon. But those flags will work pretty well, and it's a really effective thing for trapping. So guys, here is here's what I did with the flag here. Basically, I love this wire kind of whatever it's called, this tinsel, the wire tinsel, because it's got a wire spine basically through it, so it can wrap around stuff pretty well. So a lot of times I will hang it from a tree. As you can see, there aren't a lot of trees nearby where my trap is set, so a lot of times I'll hang it from a tree, and it will be dangling from there, you know, on a piece of wire, swivel or something like that, and that works awesome. And I do it a lot, but I love the flags for these kind of locations where we're in sort of, you know, this is at my ranch right now, so bear with the junk and stuff, but this is in a sort of flat area, you know, besides some of this brush back here. So the flags a lot of times do work, and this shiny stuff right here, this kind of stuff is blown in the wind a little bit, you know, it's moving around, it got a little bit of movement, it's green, so it'll be pretty good. So I got 2 sticks, right, one right there, that's a stepping stick, and then the other one's right there, a stepping stick right there, and then I got the dirt that goes all the way through the whole trap, and this whole trail of lead-in scent. So this is what I do here, is I get a bunch of feathers here out of my hand. This is a windy day, so it's not the best day to be throwing feathers around anyway, but what I'll do is I'll throw some feathers into the cage there, in the middle of the cage. That just gives a little bit of visual eye appeal for that bobcat. Another reason for them to come and investigate the trap, see what's going on. That's just, I think it helps me a little bit. After that is done, I'll show you. See, look, after I finish that, that's about all I do on these sets. It's pretty simple. There's just some feathers on the side there, you know, those feathers around maybe look like there's a chicken massacre or something, but it's really cool. So after that, what you're gonna do, there's a bobcat that steps on that pan, and then he'll get caught. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.